One slash, whoever swings just once, will definitely expose a small gap afterwards. And that little gap will give way for the opponent to attack. However, it was as if he could read his opponent's heart. He didn't show the slightest loophole. No matter how powerful his friend's weapon is, even if it were a bullet, his opponent would neither be able to confront nor dodge the sword. He managed to corner me in an instant, and completely blocked my movement with the tree. I expected it. You're the greatest sword-wielding person in the world. The swordsman spinning sword, Apostle Simon. There were only 2 people I couldn't slash in 10 sword swings. So you better feel happy. Because one of them is you. I don't know about the others, but man cannot hide his habits. Way of walking, accent of speech, body scent, and even the sound of breathing is different. I was still hesitant at first, because I think it's really impossible, and it doesn't make sense. But, through the fight this time, I became very sure. Apostle Simon, greetings to Apostle Peter. I look forward to you and miss you so much, Brother Peter. The 2 of them then duke on a rock and chatted. Peter tells him that he is young again, and Simon is shocked to hear that. Peter Bikata, I can't believe my appearance now. Simon replied, but thank goodness, I guess Big Brother is really dead. Then I also want to go to that playground and sleep there, to wake up like a big brother. Brother also looks cooler than from his previous life. It can be seen from the hairstyle that was dyed. Peter said, wake up, I've become like this. Yan, bottom line, I feel relieved. Because your nickname as a swordsman rotates. At the same time, the peerless, strongest swordsman is not without reason. I was really almost killed just now, you know. Your sword just now almost touched my neck. Simon replied, however, it turns out that your abilities are still just as great, even though time has passed. I've only held a broom for decades, so I'm still quite awkward in swinging the sword. Anyway, isn't all this thanks to the teaching of Big Brother? Oh yes. Incidentally, how could Brother find me in such a remote village? Have you heard about Nathaniel from the Honor Hospital? Oh, yes, I've heard. He said the case was very noisy and chaotic. Is it all Big Brother? Who did it? Peter replied, yes, there you have it. Even though I was already curious who did such a crazy thing. But, why did Brother do it? I intend to eliminate glory. Here's how, sis. Even if Big Brother did it, it was too dangerous. Doesn't Big Brother also know what kind of place glory is currently? Therefore, I beg you, involve me too. I'll go and finish them all off. Peter then replied, you just stay in this school. Do you want to make your hiding all this time useless? Lately, sometimes I still dream. If only, even that day, Brother didn't stop me. I will definitely not live as I am now. And the boy will also not be able to pretend until now. I'd rather give myself up happily, even if my life has to fly. Isn't that the case, Big Brother? My father, 60 years ago, Father Gabriel founded the Orphanage of Honor. Among the children who grew up in that place, there were 12 children selected, including me. Since that day, the land of the mountains has become our daily food. And every day, we fight to survive. That's how we received hellish training alongside inhumane. Treatment. And the 12 surviving children. Then he was scouted into 12 apostles, as well as special secret agents belonging to the state. Unconsciously, glory and the 12 apostles has grown and exerted great influence around the world. Then one day it happened. A boy walked into the Orphanage of Honor. And I don't know what the reason is. Suddenly, the priest raised him to be his son. Over time, the child began to want the king's crown. And in the end, he placed the crown on his own head. Arg, I will kill you. Calm down, Simon. At least you have to stay calm for our sake. It's still not time. That's how glory fell into his hands, and in an instant, Glory goes astray by becoming a dirty killer organization tainted by blood and evil. While I'm the one who has no strength at the moment, has now obtained the best weapon, that is, to be young. Therefore I try to keep an eye on him. Because I am, who would bring down his kingdom? The next day, Dago brothers talked. A human being who already love others will definitely get a decent reply. Even though we have been working hard, but why did they just hang on to Kim San-gu? Then the beautiful teacher spoke. I'm already worried that you will have to face another commotion when you go home. But thank goodness, it turns out that the thugs didn't come today. Then the beautiful teacher spoke. I was already worried that you would have to face another commotion when you came home. Dago talks. Ooh, those thugs will not come again in front of him. Because at that time, the Dago brothers threw the collectors overboard. Because if you return again, you will be involved in the fight with prospective killer leaves as you've never seen before. It's nothing. We were embarrassed. Let this be the memory of both of us. Now, we will go. Thanks for everything. Thank you so much for making so many great memories with the kids. It is precisely us who get better after living here. Thank you. I am the one who is very grateful to such excellent students for having visited a very remote Yule school on a very small Yule island. Dago then said goodbye to Mrs. Master. In the future, we will come here every year. Oh, my goodness. I would love it when you come every year. Then Simon said to Peter, older sibling, please contact me anytime if you need my help. I'm Apostle Simon, will be behind Big Brother, so if something happens, I'll come over right away. Thank you, take care of your body and live well. Sun Gu and Dago brothers left and returned to the honor orphanage. It also rained very heavily that day. Simon Yang was relaxing and reading the newspaper, but he realized something. Then Simon put on his hat as he said, it's so strange. I've had a lot of grace lately. Even though I haven't heard any info that there will be guests coming. It seems that you two came not to volunteer. Is there anyone you want to meet in a remote place like this? It seemed that the woman knew about Simon. He said, apparently you're hiding in a place like this. Apostle Simon, one of Father Gabriel's 12 disciples, which has another name, the Swordsman turn, because it is the best swordsman in South Korea. Simon then replied, a woman using a sword, and a bare man beside her. Apparently that's you, yeah. Fake Simon employed by Glory. I heard that you are the best swordsman in Japan. It turns out that you recognize me. It becomes more interesting. What is the reason you came here? Do you want to seize my name? I'm not interested in that. We decided to receive a lot of money. For heaven's sake, how is this going? Even though you came from afar, but it seems to be about to fail to get the money. Oh, yes, there is one thing wrong from. You're so brazen. How dare you say my name? Best swordsman in South Korea. The woman said, I expected it. No waste. I came from afar. Don't worry, because I used to welcome guests. Well, running, holding the sword, and approaching the woman, Simon said, well, have fun, until one of us dies. In the pouring rain, they fought to the ground. They competed using their swords. The woman turned out to be able to keep up with the sword power of the Apostle Simon. Even though I had expected a lot, because I heard that the ability of the spinning swordsman is very great. But it turns out, you've been slow. Is it because you are old? It's easier than I imagined. That's right, as you say, I really didn't manage it well, so that my sword was already too rusty. If my ability is still the same as before, you must be dead by now. Stupid parents, don't pretend in front of me. You will die at my hands, the woman said while carrying out the attack. His sword technique is indeed extraordinary, but I was actually worried because there was such a big man beside him. If you want to fight the two of them, I have to go to a wider place. Then, on the sidelines of the fight, Simon said, hey, this school is a public facility, so we will demand all damages to you. Why are you so worried? Anyway, no one will know, for you will soon die at my hands. The woman's sword almost hit Simon's stomach. But at his speed, Simon managed to dodge and escape from the room. The woman then said, "Fuck." The fox-like old uncle managed to escape. The man behind the woman asked, "The rain outside was quite heavy. Is this no problem?" "Never mind. It's just getting started." The rain was still quite heavy. Simon escapes to a wider place. He murmured, "The blade must be sharpened in order to slash more sharply. That is the true nature of the sword." However, his weapon did not come from a sword. It was a saw that could cut off human flesh. I didn't get slashed too much, but the blade of the saw penetrates the flesh deep enough. Moreover, there is something more important. I don't know why. There is something strange about them. I'm sure they're hiding something. Simon then stopped somewhere. However, the woman was already behind Simon. Simon should be calmer this time. But the woman then said, "Wow, what is this, uncle? It turns out that you're more romantic than I thought. This place, it's really a really cool place to die, right?" It was located on the edge of a ravine under the ocean. "Hey, do you know why I'm nicknamed a spinning swordsman?" The woman replied, "Spinning? What do I know? Now for, this uncle is not to be outdone, apparently. Let's end this quickly. Actually, I'm also busy." The man behind the woman said, "Wait, the man, very dangerous." True, practice is better than theory. I am the spinning swordsman. Air, wave, and even raindrops, everything is not breathing. Except this round of my sword. With such a fierce attack, the woman could only avoid it. But it will not have time. He said, I couldn't react at all. The swing of his sword did not stop, and continued. It is an extraordinary internal energy technique that can be obtained by repeating millions of times over decades. A technique that made all the swordmasters in the world feel afraid. A true heavenly view. You said you were the best swordsman in Japan. I love being able to share an interesting experience after a long time. Well, now it's your turn, big man. It's a great sword technique. Former Apostle Simon, if only you hadn't left your sword alone for so many years, you will definitely be a truly terrifying opponent. But this is too late. Huh? What do you mean? You are the ones who have lost. Simon didn't realize. If it was his stomach that was even hit by his sword incision. What happened? Actually, when did I get slashed? Impossible. This is impossible. Why? You think you've won? It's so fun. Look at your expression. What's wrong, uncle? The woman asked. Simon then muttered, Obviously I've cut it down. It felt like I was possessed by a ghost. Not. It seems that I am just hallucinating. Means from then on. Perfume. It is a hallucinogenic drug. It's ridiculous. Hallucination. It was indeed good. This kind of thing is just a light test. You think I didn't prepare for this possible situation? I've been slashed by the sword hundreds of thousands of times. If I was like that, I finally saw a ghost. I just need to close my eyes. It's a move I've repeated a million. It's a move I've repeated a million times. For someone like me, visions are meaningless. Well, after looking at it again, his ability is indeed terrifying. Even after seeing it again, his ability is indeed terrifying. I mean, the spinning swordsman of the famous Simon. I didn't expect it. It turned out that he made it like that. Let me go, dapper devil. Gosh, uncle, this is really fun. But it seems that the uncle didn't hear it. But let me also tell you one thing about the reason why I'm nicknamed the Ghost of the Sword. As the name implies, I am the ghost who uses the sword. The scene moves to another place, namely at the honor school. Doggo talks. Guys, I want to ask you one thing. What love really hurts is this. Miss, Yejin didn't answer our message. Then he showed the content of the message on his mobile phone. After being seen by Yuna, it turns out that usually Mrs. Yejin often responds to Dago's messages. But after sending the photo shown in the message, Mrs. Yejin did not answer it again. The two of them were very puzzled about Mrs. Yejin's attitude. They need help, but Leuna gets angry with them instead. But Kim Sun-gu had a bad feeling. Then Sun-gu and Jiwon go back to the remote village of Yule. After arriving at Yule, then Jiwon said, "It's so cold, and the smell of the sea is also strong." Nonsense. What exactly do you want in this place? Hey, Ma-king, you too. Why is that? Senior, what exactly is it that you don't answer? Then Peter spoke in an angry tone instead. If that time had I been by your side, and I took you with you that time, it is unlikely that something like this will happen. And it turned out that what was in the box just now was Simon's hand that the ghost woman cut off. Then from a distance, you can see an eye watching Sun-gu and friends. He was talking to the ghost woman just now. Miss, the target just checked the reward. I'm sure there is an old man, but he is not alone. There was a woman and a dog. Then there are young people. Suddenly, Sun-gu was behind the spy man just now. He was shocked once. Sun-gu then snatched the man's mobile phone. Then the man murmured, "What the is this?" Even though he was still that far away. Then how did he know I was here? The man tried to attack Sun-gu with a knife. Sun-gu, who was holding a mobile phone, then spoke to the ghost woman. "Are you a new Simon in glory?" The woman replied, "Oh, my goodness, what is I? Now I'm talking to Peter, huh? If I'm not mistaken, your nickname is Ghost. Here ghosts, I don't know what courage you acted on. I hope you stay calm. Because if it's not calm, you will suffer so much. And you will surely die. And accept the greatest suffering of the real ghost." After Sun-gu threatened him, he then pursues the haunted woman. Jiwon talked to Sun-gu on the phone. "Senior, is this no problem?" Before deciding to leave, "You already know what kind of place it is, right?" "Of course I know," Sun-gu replied. Then he saw the ship. That was Miram with the haunted woman's house. If I had to say how dangerous that place was, between 5 oceans and 6 continents, there is only one ship, whose name, identification number, and even personal data of its crew were not revealed. The ship is also known as the Ghost Yacht. Simon Sr. kidnapper was on the ship. Information on how they got to the ship, and what their true identity was, everything is hidden under the hood. But one thing is certain, that is, its origin. If in Korea, there is glory, then in Japan, there are them. Killer organizations from Japan, which still survives for 1,000 years, since the time of the Kamakura shogunate, until modern times like now. So, the most famous sword ghost anecdote circulating in the world, about the best Yakuza in Kanto. That is the Yamato Gumi organization's mass loss incident. On that day, there was a terrible incident. The leader's 60th birthday party is being held. And the 2,000 people who gathered at the place were all killed. Only in the hands of 2 people. The story is indeed famous. But why? The incident was called the loss incident. Isn't the word slaughter or extermination more appropriate? That's because at the scene of the great fight, between 2 people against 2,000 people, no bodies were found. Japanese police immediately sent down orders to search for them on the spot. But they disappeared like ghosts, as the name implies. How many years since then, until they reappear in South Korea? And become the new Simon at the Glory Club. You know it so well, but still want to go in there alone. He was even able to slash down one arm of Senior Simon. And now, you're going to face it over the ocean? If you die after going there alone, you'll just disappear. Is it really okay if I don't help? Sun-gu then spoke. The information about how dangerous the place is not important to me. What matters is how many people I have to fight against. And I won't spare a single person, no matter how many times I have to kill. Because he has to pay for my brother's blood. Someone will help me anyway. Then the Dago brothers appear and dress like office boys. The two of them will help Sun Gu. Shortly after, Choi Young-kung, chairman of Daeha Group, the best arms company in the world, came behind Sun Gu. Mr. CEO, you'd better go in and rest, because it's cold here. By the way, why are you so tense? Sun Gu asked. Choi, answer, there's no way I'm not tense. Drugs as well as contraband weapons. Eni's priceless work vanished from the world. And even living people. The ship contained everything that all men could imagine and expect. It doesn't matter how much money I have and how much power I have. I can't enter without permission from that person. Sun Gu then said, I owe you a favor once again. The CEO replied, not to think about reciprocation. Then they saw the ghost ship. It's the ghost ship where the Apostle Simon is. Sun Gu wrestled. Sword Ghost. I want to see it quickly. Then I will judge you properly. And they finally arrived at the unofficial headquarters of the Glory Club, a holy place. Ghost Yacht. Inside there was a conversation. There are people who are calling the director, while getting angry, and hit the butler. Soon, the ghost woman came to the man just now. The woman said that she was not the director, but the owner of the ship. The woman said that he was Simon, apostle-level sword ghost. He came to the man just now, the man whose face looked very cold. The woman said, don't put it this way, how about we just chat in my room? The man arrogantly replied, you forgot who I was. I could have drowned you in the water with just one word. If you don't want to be in my room, should we do it here? The man still didn't want to obey. The woman said again, while you're drunk, I will please you more. In an instant, the man's face changed. The man's body felt stiff. He didn't believe it so artificially. The woman said casually, even though you don't look like it, but your taste is like this. And the man fell to the floor. Man dies after strangling by ghost woman. The man was then thrown overboard. The corpse was carried by the cold-faced man just now. They are waiting for Peter's arrival. The woman said, because he has already got the reward. Of course, he has to come. If Peter was really on that ship, they have to make money by finding and killing him. Fake Simon wants to meet Peter soon. And after that, the Dago brothers were surprised after entering the ship. It turned out to be inside the ship. Everything is luxurious. There is a hot bar club and a cool swimming pool. Inside is really like a super luxury hotel. Rich people all over the world gather there. They must have wiped the dirt with money. The Dago brothers act to clear the path that the rich will travel. They were so excited that they were then called someone. It turned out that they were given a lot of money. They were confused by the number, and after counting with Aga sluggish, they were shocked by the fantastic amount. They were so happy that they fantasized. Sun Gu was astonished by the Dago brothers after seeing it. Not long after, the auction event is about to begin. Everyone gathered at the scene. The woman started talking. Good night on the ghost ship. Before the auction begins, there are items that Dear would like to introduce today. Sun Gu then matched the characteristics that Mrs. Eugene sent at that time. Based on the appearance clues from the paper Sima left, Sun Gu then matched the characteristics that Mrs. Eugene sent at that time. Based on the appearance clues from the paper Simon left behind, Sun Gu confirmed that it was the new fake Simon of the Glory Club. Back to the auction. The main items to be auctioned that day are Podarok. People will definitely think that the deadliest weapon in the world is of the type of cannon, fighters, and other long-barreled weapons. But according to the woman, the thing called Podarok was just now, can kill hundreds of thousands of people within 2 seconds. Sun Gu still couldn't believe that people seemed to have caught the spinning swordsman. The woman didn't look capable of doing that. People are still curious about Podarok's weapons, even though the weapon had been destroyed when it was developed by the Soviet Union because it was too dangerous. A weapon quieter than bullets, and more painful than nuclear. Then there was a man who claimed that the Podorok was a stolen weapon. He is Victor Agroa, best arms sellers in Russia. Then he told his men to take the Podorok. But apes, the big men blocked him. They can only get to the stairs. But Victor's men even wanted to kill if something stood in the way. They also arrived in front of the ghost woman just now. They wanted to drag the ghost woman. But a strange thing happened. The men suddenly felt that their heads seemed to be burning. Sun Gu, who saw it, didn't believe it very much. With a surprised facial reaction, Sun Gu saw that the two men just now had their faces melted. Even though it was just now, the big man just held his face. And after the incident, the ghost woman pretended to apologize to the visitors. He continued his auction event. He revealed it specifically for the sake of his visitors. Diane said that there is still one more item to be auctioned. An incredible auction item that would never have even been imagined before. But the item will be published tomorrow. The event later disbanded, and the woman said, "Was there Peter among the men?" asked the man next to him. But he said he didn't see it. On the way, Mr. CEO spoke. Sun Gu, was probably because it was an a tense atmosphere. "I got hungry, let's go to the banquet hall and eat there." Mr. CEO told Sun Gu to be careful with the two people just now. Because of the entire VVIP, both political and economic figures from around the world must follow the woman's words in the ship. She is the most vile woman Mr. CEO has ever met. And suddenly, the two of them were even turned behind by Sun Gu and Mr. CEO. Then the woman approached Mr. CEO and said, "To celebrate our meeting after a long time, let's have a meal together." But Mr. CEO rejected it because he didn't want anything to happen. The woman spoke in an angry tone. "Damn, stop that nonsense of yours." Mr. CEO murmured, "It's so dangerous, this woman. I have to do something." And deftly Sun Gu came over and kicked the woman out. Sun Gu said, "Just another time, if you want to eat with Mr. CEO. Today his digestion is not healthy. If you need people to accompany, I am ready to accompany you." Then Mr. CEO and Sun Gu left the woman just now, because they didn't want anything to happen. The woman then muttered. The boy tried to act adorable. The woman called them. "Wait, I do need a meal companion. You date me." The woman sprayed her perfume on the body. "Then when it comes later, you'd better just loosen your belt. Because my dinner time is quite long."